Well, hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, and if you're here, you're in the right place at the right time. And hey, this is a second look, and it's going to be a very special one. So strap in, make sure you've got your seat belt 5-pointer than this one, not just a lap, because this is going to be an interesting story. I mean, not a story, a show. So enough of me. You know my lovely co-host, Miss Trina Phoenix. How are you, my dear?
Everyone. I'm wonderful.
You're a ray of sunshine.
It's so good to be with you, Jen. Missed you.
And
Missed
as
you
y'all can
so
see,
much.
we have the lady herself, Miss True Divine 44. We affectionately know her as Jenny, our Jenny.
Yeah.
And sweetheart, we have missed you, and you have a story, and if you want to share it, you can. If you don't, we don't worry about it. But we have missed you, and there has been a reason why we have missed you. So first, let me just speak favor over us all. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for your positive energy. You have a lot of places to invest your time, and it is an honor to have you here investing your time and energy. Touch the screen, and it makes the journey a lot more, I like to use the word, kind of just groovy, no ups, no downs. You're just, anyway, so nothing missing. Exactly. Nothing missing, nothing broken. And welcome. And Jenny, we have missed you, darling. And wow, so good to see you.
Oh, it's so good to be here, to be back. So it's been so long. And it's been a brilliant ride. In that I'm an alchemist. Sometimes the way that I vibe, you've got to go really within. There's a lot of things that have driven me really within, and then things are heating up. This is what real awakenings look like. This is what real spiritual wars look like. This is what real, alchemy looks like. Finding your peace amongst the chaos, finding your serenity regardless of the external. So that's where I've been.
Wow.
Not so easy of a place to be. I don't actively choose those moments, but I do go into them. I know that I'm here to do that. So I was just telling you and the beautiful Trina, am I allowed to share the screen?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So there was don't look at my hair, because my mum had cleaned me up and I've got oil on my hair at this point. My healing oils are host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, well, here, let me do.
So on the 27th of March.
There you go, dear.
Thank you. I vibing high. I'd been harvesting in the morning. Orders had been being placed, during that day. So it was a real just good day, first sunny day. So here you'll see my scalp. This is one of the bald patches where I got assaulted on the 27th of March when I picked up Theodore from school at 3:30 in the sunny afternoon. And it was all because of where I'd parked. It all came down to that. It was. I'll stop sharing.
I'm just shocked. I mean, I'm just.
Yeah. So I parked up. This woman was swearing and shouting as I came in, as I was going into the school. Sorry, and I just continued on thinking, who swears like that in front of children? I actually asked to stop back a bit so that Theodore wouldn't hear this woman screaming like a banshee and with that language. And that was the worst thing I could have done, because the schoolyard emptied. And as we were walking back, Theodore was singing his song he'd learned. And as I was strapping him into the car seat, here's another patch. So these are all over my head, which is why I'm wearing wigs at the minute and scarves. You all know I like to put stuff on my head anyway. So, I'm going to deal with that. But, so I had concussion, swelling to the brain, because she pulled me from behind as I was strapping Theodore in to his car seat, and then gestured to the woman that was with her to let her dogs out. So I was fighting a very big woman and her two dogs. And it came down to me saying to the police, what on earth did she say? She's been charged. And it was all to do with the parking. There was no reasoning other than she said she was in charge of who parked where on her street. My parking was fine, even if it wasn't. But while I was in the school, she'd been assaulted in the car, which was pretty stupid because my car's a little bit of a runaround and her car was newer, but she'd done that. So it was just this visceral reaction that we're seeing so much of in the UK, of stabbings, of there's so many more murders, there's so many more, and I think so many people are blind to this stirring that's happening around them until it's happening to them. But the stories are building, but they're the stories that make it to the news. There's stories like mine. It's really rising up in the UK, and because people haven't done that work within, we've got the cretins rising up, if you like, that are really our kind of auric field. The people in this space is offensive. It's offensive to them. Yeah, truly offensive. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
There's just a sadness to this, and the fact that you were physically assaulted, and Theodore was right there to witness this. I mean, and we see things that we realize that this physical manifestation there's something spiritual behind it, and there are forces, and your experience, I don't have words to say, and other than not hearing myself.
Sorry, I clicked on the thing. Theodore was screaming a scream that I've never heard before.
That's terror.
He was trapped into his seat. It was abject terror. And it was like a movie, because I was in my head as I was bent down, pretty much stuck with these dogs coming up. I wanted the dogs to stay in focus with me. I wanted their attention on me and not to go to a screaming child, strapped in his seat.
Good God.
And so I was planning in my head of how I would get around the car, but I didn't want to go into the driver's seat in case she leaned over Theodore. That door was still open because I'd been dragged out of that door. So when I could grab him, I just grabbed him and ran back into the school, which at that point was a dead zone. Doors had been locked, and so we were banging on doors, and I'm having to try and carry this baby. I broke my back years ago, so she damaged that a bit more. It was, so it was pretty intense, to say.
You're lucky to be alive.
Yeah, 100%. With what's gone on with my back, 100%. But the other day, I have been in the dream realm before this happened. I'd been seeing a lot about hair. And the spiritual connection with hair. A week before, I stopped the car and stopped two boys and a girl trying to not just pull a little boy's hair, but really pull a boy's hair. And I stopped that happening. So it'd been shown to me that this is happening. And there's something very spiritual with the connection of the hair and the power force. And so these dreams have continued, but in more context to what happened in the physical since then. And I was having been in various stages of being beaten up, or winning over somebody who was beating me up in these dreams. And just the other day in the dream realm, I was being beaten up and literally picked up and thrown, to the point where I woke up banged my head, I'd thrown myself with the force of the dream. I'd thrown my body had just listened to the subconscious. So if anyone questions to me, the subconscious happens first and the physical comes after, or the within to the without, because my body just responded to the play that was playing out in the dream realm, and it threw myself off the bed, which is like, it wasn't a entity that threw me. It wasn't that would feel very different. It was me that threw me, just in response to the screenplay that was, in the dream realm at that time. So I woke up to a shock with that. So it's very.
You know what, too, Jenny? My dad did the same exact thing this week, and he split his face open on his dresser.
Wow.
He was doing a round kick. He was fighting, and he went to do a round kick, and he flipped himself right off of his bed and landed on his dresser.
Yeah, so this poor body of ours really does reflect the subconscious space, and it does reflect the alchemist as well. I had to do even deeper cleansing, even deeper processes, rituals of for self to bring an equilibrium around to that, because we abuse the body enough with the alchemy within, the emotions and the mind. It afflicts so much on the body. So it is really quantitative for me, and shows me just how important that is, to really keep a check on what the subconscious has, because this attack is also very much attached to those grifters, when I got in the way of them and the movement, when I was telling the power's all within you, nobody needs to save you, it went totally against the grain. That I've been in having to be in a bit of a self-defense or fighting mode since then, without being a part of that world. I've exited it, but we're in a delay here. The physical is in a delay, for sure. It's in a delay. So yeah, my auric field just rubbed her lack of magnetism up the wrong way. I've laughed about it since, and sort of pictured myself strapping Theo in, and me being totally pleasant, and my aura or my spirit saying, yeah, you too, to her, to wind her up or something, behind my back, me sort of winding that up. But no, it just happened. And
See,
it's
how I see this thing is that there's something in the spirit realm. I mean, to be attacked like this, wow, that's a lot of energy, a lot of rage.
Rage, that was that word. Untempered rage. There was, and I think that's the shocking thing about it, in that even if you take the worst of society, whoever's judging, there's barriers to behaviors. If you're not of that world, they usually won't involve you in it. If it's the middle of the day, you can usually feel safer walking around anywhere. If it's the middle of the day and you're picking up a beautiful little angel boy from school on a sunny day, that's another barrier that on the norm would even keep the worst of the worst from showing that total unbridled rage. But we're in a space right now where there's been a switch, a switch flicked, in that it's actually the middle ground, the balance ground, that are the most poignant, powerful force that the powers that be would, or the spirits that be, even behind those powers that be, would want gone, would find frightening, because it's that middle ground that can be the alchemist, that can see both sides, that can create change, and be strong enough to stand in the force of a wind, to do so.
But this is rage, though, Jenny. This is there are things that we all get upset. We all can at times, say something that later you're sorry, and that's basically, that's how the balance works, But this is rage. This is unmitigated rage, and you, as a victim of this, is telling to me because we see the same thing here in the States. We had someone in the city that's to the east of me. He was executed in the middle of the day. And, something has changed. And my concern is that if you can be a victim of this energy, it's telling for all of us. This is a wake-up call, because holy crap.
I usually hit
I sense there was a being, Jenny. I don't know this. You're being stalked is what
I am.
That is what I am picking up overwhelmingly.
Yeah.
The word I can see it. I can it's now in a rage because you're bringing this out.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying, folks?
Yeah.
So it's sensing now that this is going to be an attack coming back on it.
No, 100%. This thing stays in the shadows.
Yeah.
My mum said the same thing. She said that thing is hunting you again. And
Bingo.
There was prophecy spoken over me when I was a child.
Have you tried to call upon the angel that resides over it?
Well, it's not, to be honest, it's part of an angelic sort of force, to be honest. So there is that, but I want to tread a bit carefully right now regarding on what I call on the outside. Not that I won't, not that I've got anything against doing it. I just haven't had the name given to me yet of who to speak to.
Its name is Rage.
And we're going to find out. I'll tell you, this
you
is where
what they are by the energy that they utilize, and that's Rage. And you've identified it.
Well,
it's
for rage to be involved, this is a powerful being. I mean,
it's very powerful. And when I had prophecies as a kid, I really should get my mom on, but it was prophecies over and over again to say she's going to be heard, her voice is going to be heard, and I was speaking in tongues very young, talking about and laughing about slaying people in spirit. I found it fun because I like to see them go down quickly, and I found I could do it very fast. I was a kid. But there were so many prophecies of protect her face. There's been so many accidents in my life, broken backs that should have killed me 10 times over physically. They just don't. I just heal. I do just get over it. I don't harbor many anchors within of regret but there is this thing that follows, and it did make my mum's blood run cold because she recognized it just as palpably as you did just there. After that assault, it would sound strange to anybody who's not in this field, but energetically that woman means very little to me. She means as little to me as she did before the assault. I don't know her. She's not on my level. But afterwards there was this energy of I needed to.
Well, she herself, I sense, Jenny, within me, she was a pawn. I mean, she had the personality already that, was bordered on, obsessive. And, that's a portal for a being of this. We're going to find out its name, and that's what it's really freaking out about, because we will find its name. And
it's when I really come into my power, it comes up and down.
No kidding.
When I come into, and I have been in a lot of spiritual conversations that are so in depth lately, that are so potent lately. I've been doing things that I know are my gift, as I feel we all should do, but it's difficult to form a group right now. I've been doing it a lot, and of course when I get into that space, I'm a threat. I know I am, and it can't come at me unless it comes at me by proxy of something or someone else. It cannot face me head on. It won't. It can't. I knew when I looked into her eyes, I was speaking to it. And after she'd attacked me, I actually kept asking my mum to say, have I got lice? Has she given me lice? Because I was so itchy. I wanted it off. I was taking ritual baths. I was using all of the elements and all of the herbs that I've got. You know, I needed that. And it took 4 days of cleansing deeply before that feeling of the spiritual gunk, I call it, you know, being on my skin. And I thought, that's as close as you've ever been to me, you know, by putting that energetic spiritual fingerprint on me. So yeah, I recognize it, but it will not face me head on. It has to do it by proxy.
Yeah, and can I inject in this, because this is so weird? So last night there was a thing that, you know, with what Lynn does. So I'm up at about 1 o'clock in the morning and just simply flipping through the channels, right? Because got nothing else really. I'm tired. And so this movie comes on called The Entity. And it's a true story about a woman who was in Los Angeles in I believe this was the late 70s, and where she was raped by an energy, documented. It's one of the few cases of where you look at this, if you want to talk about demonology or what, I don't think it was particularly a demon, but it was obviously a very powerful presence that could come in to where the invisible begins to physically attack the corporeal form, your energy. And this is what the movie was about, trying to capture this thing. But yeah.
That is a synchronicity, isn't it? For sure.
It's weird because I didn't know this. You hadn't written me, you know. In fact, even I understand now. I mean, wow.
It resonates with me so much because I think I've experienced the same energy when I got attacked when I was 13 at the Castles and Coasters. This girl just wanted to kill me I didn't know who she was. I had no beef with her, nothing. She literally pursued me and would not stop.
Yeah.
The name of the movie, folks, someone's asking, it's called The Entity.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Silverman's in there.
You know what I keep hearing? Okay, if we are a reflection of everything that we see, if she's manifesting this, just as I did, because I've experienced it too, what is that? What is it trying to teach us? What is it trying to show us? What are we supposed to learn from it? And if these things are going to start happening a lot more, it seems to me every time you have that type of darkness show up, the equal opposite amount of light power is available. So this must mean there must be a new way we need to learn, something we need to learn to defend, to protect what's good.
Go ahead, Jenny.
I think that's doubly sure. Like I claim black, double fold, 1,000-fold, whatever I like from the ether, you know, of like you say, against any other force. I'm the alchemist. I can claim what I put a worth to, but I don't claim it back from the actual physical person. There's nothing I want from her. There's nothing she can give to me. And so I do think there's a level of absolutely manifesting this, but a lot of that for me and for you, Trina, is just that we can foresee and project as to what's coming a lot of the time. And so we are actually playing out years earlier, or you know, there's a fashion thing. I'm always changing up fashion. Nobody can ever say this is how Jenny dresses, because I'll dress as I please when I please, and I'll come up with different ideas. And usually 6 months later, everyone else is doing the same. Then I'm bored with it, you know. So there's a level of that too, that we just can see what's coming. And in a way, I do want to say for now, the reality is the way that the many are, the adepts do have to be very careful. It is once again that time in the cycle where they talk about the burning of the witches. There was the burning of the alchemists. That's what the witches were. And prior to that, there was the burning of other alchemists. Prior to that, every time an alchemist hits on using alchemy to create gold, you know, that those alchemists were killed. They were slaughtered for being able to put compounds together, not because they found rare compounds, but they've learned how to purify. And so when you purify in your own field, but we are right now in a harvest of parasites. There are a lot of parasites controlling this also, from the micro to the macro. There is a level of, you can't avoid it all the time. It's how you find that peace in the aftermath, and how you put the order to the chaos that has been ensued. So this is one of the tiniest examples, but I'm making my balms and stuff. My hands are a mess because I've been carving and harvesting, but I'm making my balms. So I think, I'm not going to pull out all of my hair just to test it out. Now I've got a load of bald patches to test it out. I've put everything in here that makes hair regenerate. Other people might think, oh, I'm worried about Jenny. She's taking it a bit lightly. I'm not taking it lightly. I'm taking it really deeply and rawly. But for damn sure, for Theodore's sake, I'm going to draw everything out of it for his abundance through this. So, I think that, but where we are at, the reality, and I think this is the shame about the whole psyops of the awakening, and they do this every cycle. They promote the awakening, they push the awakening, they force the awakening on people so that then they can hijack it and put a label on it or a limitation on it. So now we've got a load of awakened people, using magic and verbiage from the scriptures and whatnot. It's chaos out here. It really is. And I think people who are adept have to have a reality check about that we are no better than the adepts that went before us. And some of them had to hide in caves. Some of them had to go around. It was the birth of secret societies.
You know what I keep hearing? We are the adepts of the past. That's us. It's us. It's us. It's all us.
Of course we are. We're a reinvention, a refractalization of that ancient knowledge coming through. What we're dealing with here is, and we've been dealing with it for too long, is the whole scripture and storyline of the what you call Jesus, the sacrificial lamb, the one that goes around doing good things but then gets sacrificed for it. So they're telling these people to do that to us. They're literally programming them all the time to do that to us. It's ancient, and it's coming back. It's
but Jenny, here's the thing that's telling me, listen, you don't come and show up for a let's say a duel, like with swords, and you bring a stick. Right. You're going to get your butt kicked. What you have to do, and what I'm writing down and picking up is that I love how you're not allowing it to feed off of you, because the attachment would be the fear aspect, and I don't hear that, see that, or sense that. But
I had to go back to that school the very next day to take Theodore to school, and the day after that, and the day after that. I don't.
There you go.
The
that tells you your power.
My reaction,
your power is intense, and what I'm seeing in the spiritual aspect, this is a test. They're testing the line. If they attack one as yourself, which you and within this group are connected, and I sense that it goes further back than many of us even can remember. But it tells me that there's a change, there's a shift. And if we're not prepared for this, it could get ugly.
Things are going down. And we can be as eternal as we like, but this body is susceptible to damage.
It is
permanent damage,
And not to say anything, the older we get, the more susceptible to such injury it can.
Seeing people in the UK, like elderly people being assaulted so much more. Elderly people. One just recently being murdered down south. So, no apparent.
Ladies, can I ask this question of this conversation? So are we dealing with bodies that have souls? Are we dealing with bodies that are absent of a soul because there's no empathy?
Yeah.
I
No,
think having a soul requires empathy.
Yeah. Yeah, she didn't. Well, the soul would be the journey through the body, through the emotions, through the mind, and then the knowing, the number 4 is the soul. And that's where that foundation comes from, of the altar, with the square that the alchemist works from. So, you know, you can't get to that soul without being able to work through and be able to be balanced in your emotional body, your physical body first, your emotional body, and your mind, your thought body. And the two will tally up on the body regularly against the body, you know, to its detriment, you know, cravings for things that are bad for it, you know, throwing myself off the bed, Trina's dad throwing himself, you know, so it is a difficult thing to do. And she was no more capable of doing that than she was capable of holding in this rage. She is just a conduit. That's all I felt.
Yeah.
She's just a conduit.
Ginny, as you're talking, go ahead. Let me just get this out. I'm seeing this energy. It's afraid. It's afraid because there's consequences, cause and effect, regardless of which realm or dimension you're in. It's just the way that it works. And you bringing this out to this group, and however many people listen to this program, even in the replay, that is now providing you, even if, you know, you don't have to even ask for it, it's already there and it's coming in waves. And we have some pretty powerful resources. I'm going to look forward to having JD and Rurik tomorrow talking about this along with Nina, because those cats, they can get into the ethereal realm real quickly, and they have allies that you and I, all of us, would most likely haven't used. And and what I'm finding about these divine ones, they're pretty loyal. You know,
I've got a legion. I know I've got a legion.
Well, we're going to unleash that legion.
I heard them as a kid. Yeah, my problem is often I'll go away from the legion to sort of not bother them too much. No, I've got to go on it, you know, forgetting that, you know, I'm shrunk down to 5'2" and like 7.5 stone wet, you know, but the physical body just bounces back. So Jenny just keeps bouncing out, but bounce back in again, and it shouldn't have touched me. It knows this.
No, that it violated something there.
Me. Yeah, every time it touched me,
it touched your soul, Jenny. That's what it was wanting to do. And that's an assault, particularly for a woman. You know, whether, you know, that there's the physical aspect of the assault, but there's something much more, it's much more intrinsic, and it's much more intimate when your soul is being violated.
You know what's interesting?
What's that?
I keep hearing the true sacrificial lamb was always the goddess.
Yeah.
The true savior is always going to be the goddess.
I was reading the Pistis Sophia this morning.
Oh my gosh, Wayne, I just got that book.
Yeah, I mean, it's in fact, it's up on the PDF, and
that's so funny. I just got that book. That is so crazy. And this is why the attack on Jenny is so intense, is because she's totally,
she is the Pistis in the Sophia.
Yes. And I keep saying it's like this is maybe a big part of it. It's the understanding that the divine feminine has been suppressed. It's so out of balance, and it's going to cause some crazy unlocking of rage, because this will break apart the
well, that's what Jesus was saying, you know, to you know, every his followers. There was the mystery school. He had come back from the mystery school, and he was telling them, listen, you got the wrong story here. It's not me, it's not this dude, it's the Sophia. It's the earth. This is her. This is not a made up being. This is an actual energy and a force.
And think about it. They tried to kill all the Templars, and they
killed
them on the 13th, which is the number of the goddess.
And the
Friday
number
the 13th.
Yeah. They've Death and tarot is the number of death too. But
yes, and that's why they killed them, because they had proof of the goddess. I don't know what they had, but that's why they killed them.
The bones, they're female bones. That's what the Vikings all hide. They're female bones that they covet, that they say are of Christ, but they're female bones.
That's what
The
I
pelvis,
think.
Yeah, the pelvis.
That's what
Yeah, that's why it's all the cross and bones thing. They love knowing, they love thinking that they know things without other people knowing them, that are Masons. But I can tell you right now, it's because they're female bones. The pelvic bone will prove that.
Yeah.
Those don't lie. We can't transgender those.
No, they're going to be a diameter. They're going to be spaced. Just them's birthing hips right there. You know, like
right.
You know, try and get a man to function with those hips. It's not going to happen. So yeah, of course it was the goddess. And
I'm going to do my Meg Ryan. I have no emotional response to that.
Yeah.
I love that. Because that is the adept.
How do I process that? Process that you're going in. Well, yeah, I mean,
no emotional response.
Like you problem.
It's like, hello.
It is that, isn't it? That
it is. Yeah,
it is.
It's the upside down nature of things, and for people who followed me years ago, I kept saying, Gaia, me and her connected really well on this. I kept saying the divine feminine has been prettified and Disneyfied. This is going to come with a force, and it's not going to come tomorrow. This is a rolling wave. This is such an enormous wave. The divine feminine force is so enormous that it is going to come. What's the name? I've still got some forgetfulness, but it's going to come with not vengeance, but it's going to come with correctiveness. And that correctiveness doesn't necessarily mean us walking out there and shaking our fingers at people. It just means us walking out there, because everybody here has been so conditioned to have a hatred and a rage towards that divine femininity in the physical manifestation.
You know what happened to me yesterday, Jen? I saw a white owl flew over my house in the daytime. That is so not normal. And they're just saying that was also for you. So that is the white owl.
Thank you. You know what, Trina? I've got some white owl feathers from one of the owls that we rescued and got put with a falconer. So that's really beautiful. And you don't know this, but I have an owl that follows me. A lot of people that I could remote view with or spiritually connect with have seen this owl, and they don't know that I've rescued those owls. They're not people who knew that story, but they stay with me. They do.
What's even weirder, many years ago, I rescued an eagle. He got a ground squirrel trapped in his throat. And he was on my golf course. So me and the landscape crew, we rescued him and took him to the bird sanctuary where they rescue and help birds.
And
it was brought to my attention because my mom had to take a hummingbird to the bird sanctuary yesterday. So she saved a hummingbird, and they knew where to go because I had saved the eagle.
Yes,
and then I saw the white owl. It's amazing. There's just something there with that. Yeah. So
yeah, there is. Thank you. I can take a lot from that. I'll actually message you about it. But that's the divine feminine, the reverence and nurturing of life. And that's the ultimate adept and alchemist that can see life in everything: a grain of sand, a rock, a bird, a twig. I mean, here's your wand. This was the twig, because I've got a murder of crows that live in the tree. So this is one of the ones that you've got, and I've carved a crow here and here for you. And this is just one of them. Then the crystals need to go on the bottom. So you've got the twists and cycles that, the auric field at the top here. And you've got one crow here, which is slightly smaller. And then you've got another one here. Carved that for you. That's one of the ones that I needed your address for. Now this was just
going to make me cry.
I am crying. I'm losing it.
And this is from my mom's twisted willow tree, so it's grown by my mum. It's just a nurturer. Things just grow for her. And she's a feeder. And the twisted willow tree is in her back garden, and it cleanses and purifies. If you put twisted willow leaves in water, it clears the water, it purifies water. So just for the ultimate alchemist in my life, I thought, you know, I'll have the two crows, thought and memory,
Jenny.
and the divine feminine, divine masculine at the top. This twig spoke to me. This branch, it was much bigger, spoke to me. There's been whole rituals while I've been carving it, of all the carvings going into the fire and sending blessings and to Wayne. Ultimately, I always cut my hands, so it's been blood, so you know, ritualized as well.
Wow.
Your energy in it.
I'm going to say it's her DNA. It's your DNA, Jenny.
Where if I do that on a one that I'm carving for just somebody, I sand it all off because I can't pass that on. Because it's Wayne, I can pass that on because I know it's going to be coveted by his divine feminine and actioned by his divine masculine. And so it's really, we do have to be more aware about where we're putting the like you said, from macro to micro, the DNA to the hug, you know, where we put in that force.
Well, I enter and agree with this. This is a blood covenant. This is how blood covenants work.
Yeah, well, there's plenty on there.
It's an honor, and you know, Jenny, there has been that in the ethereal realm, particularly. You know, I try to at least drop in because I was concerned. I just knew it. I saw it in my dream.
That's where I get back, because I've felt you the whole time. So I've been speaking to you the whole time. And I know you heard certain energies, certain things, but there was a look that you gave me the last time we connected, or you might have just been on a video and talking. And you'd said, I see you, Jenny, and it's going to be all right. And I thought, oh yeah, the wave's coming, you know, because I could see what you could see and feel what you could feel. So I just had you with me throughout. Trina kept popping in, Nina popped in, Gaia, you know, like there's been, so it can look bad in the physical, but sometimes I forget that I haven't said things in the physical. I get merged between the two, you know, the conversation.
And folks, this is positive proof.
Okay, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen this way in my lifetime. I wonder if there's ever a time when we're ever in physical trouble, if we can call on each other. If that would manifest in this world stronger than anything outside of us, if we could use the soul power that we have anchored here as humans. I wonder if we call on each other, if that would be way more powerful.
I believe it's absolutely.
I've emerged behind my brother before. I know I have emerged behind my brother, you know, remotely. You know, and he shouldn't have gotten out of the situation, but he did. They ran. Whereas if I'd shown up with my 5'2" form, I might have had to use the car as a bat, you know. But you know, I didn't. So that, you know, in the auric field, I can expand that out to whatever I need. So there is that presence there is that ability there, but we do have to get quick-witted with it, you know, because it's a lot to think straight. I was thinking of where Theodore was, I was thinking of where these dogs were, trying to keep the dog's attention to bite me, not him, you know. So there's a lot to think about, and again, it's a wake-up call to say
this thing wanted to
kill me.
What exactly? Thank you. It's exactly the word I was going. It wanted to remove your piece on the board. Get that out, because there's a resistance that you have, and in the ethereal realm, it stands as a high tower.
Yes,
and this is problematic.
Yes.
And so the attack, and here's the thing, there were others already around you. We were there. We didn't, because it could have gone way worse.
I was supposed to die that day. My back's unstable. I shouldn't be able to walk, but I do. On paper, all of those things, you know, I've got locked on. Major operations,
do you know how much time this took in the spirit realm to set this up?
Yeah,
I
it's been
mean,
a lot. There's been
this
like
is a strategist.
no, there's been backhanders, there's been
Yeah.
you do
I
this
mean,
for me.
this shit just doesn't happen, that there it takes time to manifest this type of rage against particularly your energy, your whole aurora, which again is that I saw the tower. It's you can't measure it if you're looking up. And yeah, wow, that's really weird. I saw a number among these pieces on the board, but anyway, this was rage, and it was willing to break the contractual agreement between the realms.
Yeah.
And karma, we think it's just an attribute here. It's 10 times worse over there. This thing is now
reverberates outside of here. It's faster outside of here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Physical slows it down. It bounces in the etherical. It really bounces in the etherical. It reverberates much quicker. That's what I've seen.
I'm seeing the comments in the chat room, and hey, Brandon, how you doing, brother? Jenny, you've just unleashed within this soul tribe group, which we are connected. I mean, there is a blood covenant amongst us, because we realize that if we would take the hit instead of you, I mean, that's how it works in the spirit realm as well. We're all souls. We're all spirits.
Well, the thing is that her bringing this to our attention and sharing this story, we've all experienced it now on a different level, but nonetheless. So now, not only have they harmed you, they've harmed all of us too.
Who wants to be king?
I'm going to take the
meeting room, getting ready.
I'm going to take the approach of the 3-year-old little girl whose mother says, the monsters are outside, and she says, "What are you going to do?" She says, "I'm going to kick their ass."
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean you're going to kick their ass? Well, if they get in, they want to kick my ass.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
To my mum, it's just such a shame. I know I've been here before, but I know I've had weapons. This is a really difficult play this time, because we've had the weapons taken away from us. We have services external to ourselves that are supposed to prosecute and protect, but they've been switched off for certain things and switched on for other things right now, which is a strategy. So we really are hemmed in where we feel like we've created more freedom. It's all been a hemming in, because I don't mind being a hypocrite for things that aren't connected to a source energy, like that woman, in that and I find it difficult to call her a woman. There was no loving empathy there for Theodore.
Yeah.
Was no that boundary would stop great big men on a mission coming at me. The boundary of his beautiful little face. I mean, he could stop wars if we just packaged him up right, in some bulletproof glass. He could stop wars. He would have soldiers dancing together. So that barrier, for that to be broken, that was the line that's being crossed.
I keep having the experience of what I had to witness as a caretaker of this child who had a demonic entity, and it snapped another child's spine in half and left her paralyzed at age 10, and she laughed about it. And the no empathy thing, that's for real. That is so for real. And the thing is, the reason I think it's coming into my consciousness is I was the only one she wouldn't attack. Everyone else went to the hospital but me.
Yeah.
And I was the only one that could call that thing out and get it to leave her alone, because she was still inside there. And when it would leave, she had no knowledge of anything that had transpired. So I did it with love and compassion. And I would call and speak to the soul of her, and the soul could fight that entity, and sometimes win, sometimes not, but most often it could. But you had to support her, the inner being, the one that was being caged by the demon.
It's interesting. I was just thinking, you take your golden nuggets no matter where you find them. But
Yeah.
so for decades, I knew by heart, because it was in my heart, was, Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not with flesh and blood, but with powers, forces of darkness, hierarchies, etc. And so and that's part of the initiation into the occult, is that you realize you're being told that there is this structure. Without structure, there's nothing but chaos.
Correct.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's the four. It's the square,
Mm-hmm.
the
The
body,
foundation,
the emotion, the mind, equaling to the soul.
Jenny,
And
you're a power. There is something that you're going to. It hasn't happened yet, but I can see there is something that's going to be birthed through you that is going to have this amplification process, and I don't know what it is, but it's going to be felt by many, and it's going to again have this amplification. So not sure what it is.
I'm working on stuff. I'll tell you about it later, but I'm working on stuff. I'm going to bring the 6 foot underground to the upper ground so that people.
I love it. See, I can just sense that.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of prophecy is about, when you can actually see something on an individual. And it's not that, I'm a prophet of any kind. What I can sense is they're we're all connected by destiny.
Yes.
And and if I can touch into Jenny's energy field, I can sense her destiny at the same time.
Yeah.
The same thing, if it was Trina or if it was Deborah Sloan. I mean, doesn't matter. It's we can touch into that.
Yeah. And that's it. She was a conduit to touch into me for that thing that cannot usually get this near to me. It has to do it by proxy. It came very close by doing it through her. But it was a miracle. So the fact that the dogs didn't get a hold of the jawline, which
it's just a miracle you're living.
Covered in saliva, and we've healed Theodore beautifully. We had to take some weeks to heal that little boy, but there's this level of capability, and also this just an awareness that the adept, there's been a lot of fluff put around awakening and adeptness and connectedness and all of the other labels. But if we just take time to find our peace, the first thing the adept needs is a peaceful space, a laboratory to work in that they can focus in on without the taint of confusion, the taint of distraction. That's not to say, again, that you get a lot of spiritual people saying, oh, I'm detaching from the world. It's like, how are you going to do that? You have to be able to retreat to your laboratory to do your work. And that goes to retreating within to do that inner work. But you cannot dictate to the world what that inner work is going to, how it's going to pay off. You just are doing it because you find enough importance and worth and value in the process rather than the outcome. And when you start coming into the outcome again, you're getting attached to the outside world. So there's a discrepancy from what people are saying and what they are then doing. They are doing the very thing that they're saying that they're not, and vice versa. So you need that quiet space. You need the ability then to find that quiet space in the most chaotic places. You can't not have that, especially when you're in a depth, because you're going to walk through, and sometimes you can feel your auric field just throwing things out the way, or just moving things out the way. It swims through energies, and it's not that you're being forceful, but there's a force around you and behind you, and people are going to feel that. And right now that is foreign to them. We are so foreign to them, even though we're from the ancient and we are connected, because I'm telling you, there are soulless beings here. She was not connected to a soul source energy. She was a conduit, a vessel, and it had been filled with quite bad things. So, an easy attachment tool. But we're not going to be liked right now. We're not, and we're not going to be. And if we're even coming into practice with people who are saying they're one thing and saying they want one thing, but actually in fear of that thing, then that's my exit now. That's a pointer for me to say, wish you all the luck in the world, blessings to all of you, because that fear taints the circle. It really does for the adepts. It sneaks in, it's insidious. So that's the one thing we can't have right now is fear. Fear and confusion are the two major factors of offense right now on us and around us. And I refuse to enter into that. I refuse to.
Jenny, that's what they're afraid of. You're the obstacle to that, because you don't just simply talk it. You're actually coming in this saying, this is exactly how I dealt with it. And you really do have the victory in this. And, when I'm sitting here and I've just been meditating in my spirit where you were talking, you see, I know that this was a calculated move. This was really a very risky move for this entity to do.
Yes,
because there's a lot of powerful people. There are witches, there's warlocks within here, there's wizards, there are alchemists of the highest kind, of a variety of kinds.
Yes.
And what they've done is that they didn't realize it. By attacking you, they attacked the whole hive, so to speak.
Yeah.
And there's some of us who are just fucking warriors. We don't give a fuck what the other side thinks. And that's what makes us, because when you call in us, there's going to be, as the 3-year-old said, we're going to kick some ass.
Yeah. It's like, let's play. Let's dance.
That's exactly. This is a game of eternity.
Yeah. They want. You're right. I was.
You're my sister. I mean, this is that people don't realize, is that we have this relationship that is formed over the years, much like Trina. Is that there is this. Well, y'all know what it is, but anyway. And so,
it's don't touch my brother. Yeah,
exactly. What?
But I have to keep my emotions in check with you.
Yeah.
I hear a biblical scholar spewing out rhetoric again, and I'm like, give me their name. Usually I'm more adept at saying, but
I love it.
I think I'm gonna say something, and I was like, who's that then? And I was, Jenny, it doesn't matter, let it go. So I have to, so with those relationships as well, we learn a lot from each other when we can self-reflect in that even silliest of things, but not silly at all, because if you had given me their name and said, this is what I need, Jenny, it would have been done, like yesterday. So there is
and this has formed that bond even stronger now.
Yeah.
Trina, I mean, this is because I know Trina's a warrior. I know Gaia, look in here as well. There's a number of others.
I just keep hearing part of my team laughing and going, let Jenny know, remember, you've got a lot of dogs.
No way.
I have a lot of dogs.
Oh,
I have a lot.
Trina, when I was a kid,
I just got 2 huskies that just crossed over. I've got 2 huskies to meet the team. And one of them is a 186-pound Rottweiler too. I've got a bunch of dogs, Jenny.
Dogs, they love me.
I still think of Zodiac.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like what Scotty Boy says.
I think she brushed up against my friend's leg when we were at lunch because we were talking about him. And she goes, did you just touch my leg? And I was like, I'm sitting 2 feet away from you. No. She's like, it felt like something just rubbed on my leg under the thing. I was like, probably was the dogs because we're talking about them.
They do have souls.
Yes, they
Oh,
do.
100%, and a lot more
Yeah.
pure than most.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I mean,
do.
that's the whole thing about a dog, they just love
Yeah.
you unconditionally. And like,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
When I was a kid, I've always had dogs, and rescue dogs in particular, and big dogs, small dogs. I always had dogs.
Me too.
So I had no fear of them. Have no fear of them. But when I was a kid, I would get these attacks, and I would work very much in the spirit realm regularly when I was dreaming, asleep, and I would get attacked a lot. I would wake up with scratches. I would just not bother going to sleep sometimes. And one of the returning things was these two big black dogs would sit at the edge of the bed, and the moment I felt the deep theta state kick in, that was it. These two dogs would come bounding over me on my bed simultaneously, but they with snarling, big teeth, red eyes. It was very vivid, but they would always just jump over me.
Yep.
And it wasn't until I was speaking to my mom, and she was like, "What is it? What's this returning thing?" So obviously she's very adept. And she realized, she said, they're your hellhounds. I was like, what?
Yep.
They're your
That's
hellhounds.
exactly
They'll
what I
never
heard.
attack you. They'll never
Yeah.
attack you.
Never
it's like the
attack
God in
you.
your gravestone. They're attacking what was ever behind you. I was like, oh, thanks,
Yep.
Mum. Because I was only a kid thinking, well, what the hell's behind me if they're snarling like that? But they staved off so much, those two dogs, and they're still with me now. I know they are.
Absolutely.
I know they are.
Yeah.
In something depicted as gory and horrible and dark, they
No.
weren't. They're my hellhounds, like they can come for
Yeah.
me, kind of thing, in my sleep realm.
That's right.
I'll tell you, there has been a victory here today. I mean, it's I mean, Jenny, you had to be the brunt end, but I'm telling you, this is not going to turn out well for the other side. I can just tell you that. They've pissed a lot of us off. And
last rain, when I was on, I told you, I said, there's a deep panic happening right now. And this is confirmation for me. So thank you, Jenny, because you won. You did it right. You handled it all right. You won. And like you said, there's consequences for that kind of an attack. So
heavy consequences, heavy.
For real.
This thing might not even be recognizable in the luminiferous ether, after all said and done. This thing might be quite well.
Again, this was a high stake thing. I mean, I'm sitting here kind of flabbergasted going, are you shitting me? I mean, really? I mean, I don't know everything about that other side. Between everyone else's experience and mine and everything, we can put a picture together. But I have enough knowledge to know to do this, to attack you. It's highly risky. I mean, typically it doesn't turn out well for the other side, because here we are. All of us have been, in one form or way, been victims of abuse as children, as going into adulthood, and we've overcome this. We've somehow been able to keep the balance of the seesaw. And now we have this medium where many of us have been looking for each other. We've been searching, and we came in at the right time, because we were aware of a technology that one day would not just show us the pictures, but it would connect us also in that spiritual energy.
Yes.
I mean, this is a homecoming for many of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a reunion for sure. And it's, the aftermath of a party, the beforemath of a party, and then the midst of a party, it really is that, we're walking into all of those energies. But, would we be doing anything else? Who knows? We probably are in other dimensions, but
I think so.
this is, even in the context of all of that, it is what it is as well. It is what it is. And victimhood is a real trap set by conditioning and labels. And it's something that I find to take something that is so sacred. It's a sacred moment to the way that you're both cultivated and nourishing me, the way that, you know, somebody nourishes and takes care of with tenderness somebody who has been a victim of something like this or another. That's a sacred moment. It's a sacred, deep, connective moment. So it's always been something I've spoken out about, that victimhood and falling into victimhood is sacrilege to the sacred moments that are found in the aftermath of victim being made a victim temporarily. And it's that temporarily because it's the processes of being able to go within. You're not gonna know how far you can go within and how far you can keep it to yourself and not give your energy out there, you know, through hatred. Or I haven't really thought of that woman very much since. She's an anomaly to me. She did. I wouldn't want to put my hatred there. My hatred's far too pure to dwell in that space. Like my hatred wouldn't like it in that space, you know. So I can't.
There's a lot of things to this, Jenny, that the fact that it had to attack you from behind and unseen. I mean, again, I'm getting this.
While you're putting your
thing.
child in the car.
Yeah, it's a coward.
That is so bad.
It is a coward. It's a bully. And and when you were talking, I saw you in a form. You can be pretty what one would say, holy shit. I mean, I saw you in the ethereal form when you were being attacked. You have this there's a power to, I would say it's in the form of almost, and I hate to use the cliche over again, but it's kind of dragoness. I saw you. I mean, you morphed into this thing. You were in fact, the energy that you were emanating from yourself is it's that the reason why those dogs did not tear you up, and that this woman that outweighed you considerably. Yeah, that we'll talk more about this. We'll talk more because I didn't realize we went way over, but wow.
Oh, no way. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you. I just have gratitude for the space that's created here, for the space that's created on my channel, for all of the things you do, Trina. You know, this is a real congregation, and it's really what's been lacking. We have thrown the baby out with water in congregation. So I love congregating with you all. Even when I'm working, I'm listening to you all. You know, so it's
I feel you.
Yeah, I feel you.
I feel you.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Y'all make sure to support Jenny and Trina on Jenny. I'll have to get your channel, put it in link in there. But folks, you can really just put in True Divine 44 and find her. And if you're not subscribed, what are y'all thinking? But anyway, come on, spread the love, you know.
Completely bald.
That's what I love
so much. I'm sending you such big hugs.
Oh, thank you, Trina, my love.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I reckon I'm going to be successful enough that I'll be flying out there soon. Give you all
I hope so. My door is always open to you, sugar. Always.
Yeah.
I believe that will be happening as well. All right, everyone. We just send love to you, and Jenny and Trina, stay with me. And wow, what a show. I mean, I'm blown away. I mean, it's like, wow, there was some deep stuff. Guy, right back at you. Thank you, darling. Yeah. Join me tomorrow with our continued studies in demonology, because this is going to be interesting, because I think we can see what happens if we put some other forces in play.
Yeah.
Just saying, you know.
All I know is that all of it is part of us. All of it.
Yes, it is.
All of it.
Yes,
the worst and the nastiest of the nasty and the beautifulest, brilliant of the light. It's all one. It's all the opposite of itself. So once we start to really figure out how to make this stuff go 0 point, which puts you in the still point, which connects you to creator source. Nobody acts stupid when they're connected to source. We're going to figure this out.
I'm telling you. Yeah. All
And
right.
demons feel good. Demons feel good. They feel
That's
good.
right.
Give them a
Everybody
role that they can do some good
Everybody
in.
healed. Yes,
Everybody
everybody
will.
healed. We
Send
got
them
0
up.
point, baby. 0
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Oh, much love to you too, Trina.
I love you, Rain. Love you guys.
Well,
Oh,
it's reciprocated, and Jenny, it goes without saying. And look at all the beautiful people out here.
love
Thank you
so
all.
much.
David
Gosh,
Berry says, "Hey, sister, don't forget I'm
Hey.
just right down the road from you."
yes.
Ah, yes, you are, David Berry.
He says, "Hey, don't forget about me, man."
That's
There
right.
you go. And Mary Wins, thank
Oh.
you for putting that up for Miss
My
Jenny's
God.
channel. Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you, Mary.
And
You're the best.
wow. All right,
Love you.
everybody.
Mm.
Much love to you all. We'll see you again real soon. You two stay with me. All right.